Before we get into this video, I want to show you guys how well the Tapo ColorPro looks like in a completely dark room using two spotlights. As you can see, everything is in full color in a dark room, but how does it compare to other security cameras?
Here's a comparison showing a Tapo ColorPro with the spotlights turned on against another brand that uses infrared lights. The spotlights are extremely bright, paired up with a low light sensor, and this is going to help you achieve that color in just about any scenario. And I was amazed that it still picked up some type of image, even with the spotlights turned off. And the technology on this camera is called ColorPro Night Vision. And this is the only camera that I've actually used that allows you to pick up footage in a complete dark scenario. And I'll show you guys some demos a little bit later. How this works is that the sensor that picks up the light is up to 2.1 times larger and has an f-stop of 1.0 that allows up to 4 times more light than your traditional security camera. And this is going to allow you to pick up at least some image when there's zero lights to be had, as I show in these demos right here. I was very impressed that it picked up anything whatsoever. But like any camera system, it always picks up the most details when you have a well-lit room, especially if you have it outside in the sunshine. It's going to get more light to give you better details. But the fact that it can work in the nighttime is even better. In the box, you get everything you need to get started. There's a power cord, a quick setup guide, the camera, and there's a template to make it easy to mount on your wall. This camera can be connected through Ethernet cables, or you can use 2.4 gigahertz with Wi-Fi. But I do want to point out that it needs to be connected directly to an AC outlet in order to power it up. There's no batteries inside. On the front of the camera, there's a microphone so you can have two-way conversation. There's two spotlights, and then there's an indicator at the very bottom that you can turn off or on if you don't want to be seen. On the bottom of the camera, there's a speaker system, plus you can remove 2 screws and add a memory card, and you can reset the unit if you need to. To store your footage, you have 2 different ways you can do it. Here I have a 32 gigabyte memory card. I can just put it right here in the bottom, and my files will store locally. And keep in mind, this will support up to 512 gigabytes. Now, if you don't want to do that, Tapo does have a cloud-based service, and this allows you to pay a monthly fee and store everything remotely on the cloud so you can access it anytime you want. Once you have the application installed, you're going to end up at this screen, and we want to add a new device. So go and press on that. Then you want to press on C325WB. Now there's 2 ways you can wire up this camera. First one is wired, but we're going to do the wireless on this video. Once you select that, go and press on next. You will see a red and green light flashing on the front. Next, we need to head over to the Wi-Fi settings and connect your phone directly to the camera. So now we have that selected. We can then go back into the application. Now your phone's going to look for the camera. Once you find your Wi-Fi connection, you want to go ahead and hit next.
Connecting to Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi connected.
So now we have a Wi-Fi connected. We can then start off by giving the camera a name. So for example, I can call this just Tapo. And then you can choose where you want the camera to be located. In my case, I'll just choose Studio. Or you can customize your own at the bottom. Now you can look through here and give it a custom icon if you like. Press on next. And what it's going to do is program your Wi-Fi into the system so you don't need your application anymore to connect it at a later date. Once everything is complete, you'll be greeted by this screen right here. So if you plan on mounting it on the wall, there's just a few things you need to check just to make sure that you're going to get good signal. And there's a preview in here that walks you through exactly what it looks like. Now going back to the main screen, we can press on Sounds Good. And you do have an option to pay for a cloud-based service. On the local storage, you want to take those screws out of the back of it and go ahead and insert a memory card. And this is what it looks like on your home screen. So the installation process took about 10 minutes. As you can see, it's really easy to connect. Now I want to show you guys some of the different features that this camera has to offer so you can customize it to your particular environment. So when you get into the application, you're going to see the profile that you set up for your camera. Once you press on that, it will go live so you can view the footage live happening right now. Now at the top of it, you do have this different resolution. You can choose 2K or 720p or set it to automatic. Next, you have a little light bulb, and if you press on that, it triggers the spotlights inside of the camera, and that's a manually way to do it. Next, you have a gear at the top, and when you press on that, you'll see the profile, and you see I did change the name to Tech Steve, as well as the location, time zone, and things like that. If you go down a little bit farther, you can also invert the image And this is ideal for someone who wants to set up the camera upside down. You'll have no problems whatsoever with that. Next, you have a status indicator, which changes the light on the front of the camera. You can turn it off and on. And then we have what they call privacy zones. And basically what that means is that if you press on the icon, go and add it at the bottom, you can have this little box that you can put exactly where you want. And whenever the camera's recording, it'll block out that field of view. Next, over here, we have your spotlight. So you can turn it off or on just by toggling that little switch. And then inside of here, you have the spotlight settings, so you can control the brightness as well as the duration as well, from 5 minutes up to 30 minutes. Now, the SD card I already have installed here, but it will load up. And at the very bottom of here, you can actually format the card, so it will make sure that the camera is set up to record. And I will tell you that it happens automatically as soon as you put the card in. It will ask you to format it. As we go down a little bit farther, we can change your video quality. And there's an HDR mode as well if you want to get even clearer resolution. Now, going back into the application, we have advanced settings, and you have what they call privacy mode. So let's say, for example, you're having to get together with a lot of people and you don't want to record them. All you need to do is just toggle that on, and that will actually disable all the cameras working whenever you turn that switch. There is that mounting guide that I showed you guys earlier, but unfortunately where my studio is located, I'm not available to film the outside footage like a few people are doing. And you can share the device if you want to have other people to have access to these cameras. Going back to the main screen, we have these little squares here, and this will allow you to see multiple cameras that you have set up to that profile. So here in the studio, if I had 4 cameras, I can press that and see a live view of all of them, but that is something you can set up if you have a big space or something like that. Then you can do a snapshot of the scene. So if you want to just get a quick little picture, and then you can record the scene by hitting that little camera. Next, we have talk feature, and under talk features, it actually allows me to talk to the camera. So if I press that, testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. So that'd be a cool feature if you need to talk to someone delivering something or something like that. And you can do it for voice calls as well, which is the next feature. Now, the next thing is privacy mode. I showed you guys earlier, but if you do that, it literally turns the camera off, and then you can exit out of that to turn it back on. This camera also has a built-in alarm, so if I turn it on, it's waiting for any kind of motion, so it triggers that system. So as I walk back into the scene, it turned the spotlights on and it sounds a siren. So I'll go ahead and turn that off. And then you can tag different movements. So if I press on that, as I move around, you can see that it's tagging me and it's following me, which is a cool feature, especially because it's going to track any kind of perpetrator, but it will track anyone who gets in front of the view. So you can turn it off if you don't want to have that. The last feature I want to show you guys here is the playback and recording. So as I was filming this video, I made all these little clips here that it recorded. Now, if I hit memory at the very top, this shows everything that's stored on the memory card. But let's say I want to delete it or download it. If you hit the little box at the top and hit the square, I can choose which files that I want to hit download at the bottom. And when I hit download, they'll store into the phone setting, which is great to share that security footage. Or you can just choose one at a time if you want to do that. I just want to show you guys how easy it is to put it all together. First of all, you just put the 3 screws in it using the template that comes with it. Once you do that, you want to go ahead and adjust it and make sure you use the application to line it up correctly where you want it. If you want to use the wired connection, go ahead and select it in the app, and you want to use this adapter and plug in your Ethernet cable and run it over to your router. The last thing you need to do is just go ahead and plug it in. In some cases, you might need an extension cord. The mounting system on this Tapo camera is very flexible. You can mount it underneath an eave outside, and it is weather resistant, or you can bring it into your home and mount it in different locations. The great thing is that you can adjust it any way you want to make sure you get the best viewing angles. And this is what it looks like in a real life scenario. And this camera looks amazing, especially in a low light situation. The only lights in the room is the TV and a little bit of ambient lights coming in through the blinds. Not only do you have all those features that I showed you, but you can also connect it to your smart home devices as well. And that's going to allow you to use this camera system to be able to see it on these displays by giving them voice commands. Now, for $119, there's a lot to be had here. And if you guys are interested, I'll leave all the links in the description below. I'm Tech Steve. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.